If you don't do that, you're just stealing your own money because you're creating gaps that you ideally need to fill up, especially if you have only 9 rooms. Hi, my name is Nadja, and I'm the co-founder and CPO of RoomRaccoon. The reason why we actually founded RoomRaccoon was to serve an own need. I took a leap of faith and I bought a small, beautiful boutique hotel in the Netherlands, about an hour away from Amsterdam. Well, that journey obviously came with some hurdles, and I'm super thrilled to take you along, share with you everything that I have learned during my 8 years of running a small, luxurious boutique hotel. So when I took over Bliss, yes, it was a beautiful hotel. It had 9 different luxurious suites, all themed differently, but it was not maintained at all. A lot of things were broken. And I was like, okay, I have to charge quite some money to those guests, right, to make this concept work. I was like, okay, how on earth am I going to do this? And I didn't have any more money to make major renovations, so I made a deal with myself to compensate. So compensate in service. So I brought everybody a welcome drink. When somebody checked in, I walked with them to the hotel rooms. I walked them through the room. Then I went downstairs and I got my little glasses of champagne and the little chocolate and the little note on it to welcome the guests, to compensate anything that is maybe broken in that the guests have this personal experience with me and kind of understand. I told them my story as well, like, hey, I'm new here and I want to make this work. And then if you have the buy-in from the guests as well, then they will give you better reviews and they will help you to grow and to reestablish your newly purchased hotel. You have to make a unique identity. That was also the concept from the Bliss. So the Bliss was known for, hosting executive managers that are mostly international, so I didn't have many actually local guests there. So you have to adjust to that one as well. You have different customs. First of all, you need to make it consistent. So consistent in quality was my first path. So I bought the most expensive towels, which I actually regretted right after Carnival, because all of my towels were all of a sudden full with face paint, so I could throw them away. But your logo is important. It is more expensive, yes, but I've put the logo on all of the towels, small ones, big ones. I placed them in the rooms very visibly. I had little welcome notes that you have printed paper. So it needs to be one consistent journey that you bring your logo in front. And my logo was Bliss, right? And blissful, I mean, how beautiful is it? So you can really create something around that and make it a unique, consistent story that the guests can experience blissfully, hopefully, while staying with us. Let me tell you a little bit about the rooms and the themes and also the choice of, keeping them all in the individual. So for example, room number 1 is our classic suite, and it's beautiful dark blue, everything with this beautiful fireplace and a television space. Everything was dark in this room, and the theme of it was James Bond, right? Like, so just sit back like a gentleman and this whole gentleman vibe. Some others, I think my favorite one is the lodge. So this was really like the hunting lodge theme, and not appreciated by everybody, but we had a deer head which was named by us Hank. So our Hank was hanging on the wall as well. But again, sometimes you had vegetarians coming in and they request another room, which I understand. Then we had the business suite, a very, very big one. We also used it for conferences, but it was the one where the executives really felt home, right? You had to walk 3 floors upstairs to get to there, but then you had this amazing view over the city as well. Wedding suite, you must have a wedding suite, completely in white with a jacuzzi and an outside space, so a very big terrace as well. I would definitely recommend to have something like a honeymoon or wedding suite. quite simply because you can make it quite expensive and people are really happy if they get it as an upgrade. So consider a honeymoon suite. Our Notting Hill suite had like this bathtub on poles and yeah, very cute. So every time when a woman was booking by herself, like a business traveler as a woman, I usually would put her in the Notting Hill suite. And as soon as you open the door and you see them coming in, and just every time the reaction of them was the same, they're like, oh. And that's what you do it for. Having said that, I don't think you should allow guests to book individual rooms or specific rooms. What I mean by that is you should combine them in one room category, because that makes it for you possible to increase your occupancy. If you don't do that, you're just stealing your own money, because you're creating gaps that you ideally need to fill up, especially if you have only 9 rooms and you do need to have those bookings. So what I did is I made 3 room categories: the wedding suite, that obviously is an individual one, the business suite, and then the rest are called the Bliss suite, and all of the unique themed ones were falling under the Bliss suite. Having said this, they could give me a preference of which room they would like to have. And often I get not only one preference, because believe it or not, people find it difficult to make choices. So I get like, hey, this room, this room, this room maybe. And then they actually were much happier when they got the room that they wanted or have requested. So this would be my recommendation, to definitely, even though completely different rooms, categorize them as long as the facilities are similar. Key considerations when designing the hotel was for me quite a struggle to, what I wanted it to look like and what is actually doable in a hotel. Because you do have a turnaround time in the morning. So guests leave, in my case, at 11:30, which is quite late, but they can check in already at 2 again. So you have a very limited amount of time that you actually can get those rooms ready. And yes, I did want it to look each room unique and special and have those little things on there that require extra housekeeping. I remember one of my rooms had, for instance, this little horse figure, and that was, always the dust on there. So you really had to go with a little towel and make it every day so you don't have any dust. But yeah, all of these things still were what I wanted to do in this hotel. It was the home space or home away from home that I wanted to create uniquely with each one. Then the bed sheets, for example, usually you would go for white. Because I had themed rooms, I wanted to have different kind of colors, which is also not a consideration that I probably now in hindsight would not do anymore, because they fade out and you constantly have to buy new ones. Also, I wanted to have the nice brands, which are like quite expensive per bed sheets, and these are the learnings that I maybe step by step combined more my vision with what is actually practical, but this is something you have to learn. In the terms of the Bliss Hotel, again, it was an existing hotel and we had mainly corporate guests. So that means there are companies around and you need to engage with those companies. So I have invited every year all of the secretaries to come stay over free of charge. That is just an example, an idea that maybe convinces them, like experiences them themselves, like how nice the rooms are. Probably makes them, book with me. Then in terms of where do you market further, besides those one-to-one conversations you have with the companies, you have your own website. Your own website needs to be very, very good. It needs to be informative. It needs to represent what you want to do. And then you have the OTAs, so the booking channels. The reason why I think the website is so important is because I think in concepts as the Bliss Hotel, people are engaged to compare you on booking channels, but then maybe go to the website to find a better deal. So also mine to have package deals. So I had a Sleepy Sunday, or I had a combination together with a restaurant in the city. I also had a package deal together with a casino. I made a deal with another restaurant to actually, with my little welcome drink, to have a little biscuit and that they make homemade themselves. So engage in your city and the local businesses that are there. I think it's a responsibility of a hotel as well to, teach guests what is around and close to you, and thereby, in a way, serve also the community So if you're considering buying a hotel, I would advise you also to look at, maybe if you consider having a bar, you increase your amount of hours that you work a lot, that you also have to pay for the staff members. So be wary about that. Yes, it is a great enrichment for a hotel to have an own bar, but that just comes with extra challenges. Depending how many seating spaces you have, make sure that you open the doors also for people just on the street, not only for hotel guests. I think that is important. I made the decision to make the small shampoo bottles, but in hindsight, I think there's a lot of waste. So I think nowadays there are very nice solutions for also having pump bottles. So I think that is something that I would go for nowadays, instead of having the individual shampoo bottles, which is not only a waste of your money, but it's also definitely not great for the environment.